It's the text you pray to get when you're worried sick about someone. I'm safe. Short. Reassuring. A message that makes you finally exhale after hours of silence. But what if that text wasn't sent by the person you thought? What if, by the time you read it, they were already gone? In the age of smartphones, safety feels like it can be confirmed with a single ping. But behind the blue bubbles and green text boxes lies a terrifying truth. Sometimes, messages are just masks. In this story, a text meant to calm a family's fears became the first sign that something was deeply, horribly wrong. This is the story of how one final message unraveled a web of greed, obsession, and betrayal. It was a humid Thursday night in late July when Emma Lawson's phone buzzed for the last time. Her mother, Marilyn, had been pacing her kitchen for nearly an hour, coffee cooling untouched on the counter. Emma was late, really late, and that wasn't like her. She was 27, responsible, the type who texted if she was running 5 minutes behind. Marilyn kept glancing at the clock. 11:47 p.m. Then the phone on the counter lit up. A text from Emma. I'm safe. Don't worry. Relief washed over her, but it was mixed with something else. Something she couldn't quite name. Maybe it was the phrasing, Emma never just said, I'm safe. Maybe it was the lack of emojis or the fact that it didn't sound like her voice at all. Marilyn texted back immediately. Where are you? When will you be home? No response. By 1:15 a.m., that creeping unease had bloomed into full-blown dread. She called Emma's phone. Straight to voicemail. Emma had been in high spirits. She'd been working at a boutique interior design firm in Charleston, South Carolina, and had just landed her biggest client yet, a renovation project for a historic inn. She told her best friend, Natalie, over lunch that she was finally starting to feel like all the late nights were worth it. But Natalie noticed something else that day. Emma kept glancing at her phone like she was waiting for a message. She didn't say from who. The truth was, Emma had been quietly dating Ryan Cross, a man she'd met at a charity gala 6 months prior. He was charming, successful in real estate, and dangerously good at making her feel like she was the only person in the room. But Ryan had a shadowed past. His ex-fiancée claimed he was controlling and manipulative, but Emma brushed it off as bitterness. That Thursday, Ryan had invited her to come see something at a property he'd just bought. She'd agreed. Natalie had warned her, half joking, just text me when you get home so I know he didn't murder you. Emma had laughed. At 6:42 p.m., surveillance cameras from a gas station on Route 17 caught Emma's silver sedan pulling in. She went inside, bought a bottle of water, and left. Witnesses said she was alone. That was the last confirmed sighting before the text. Later that night, neighbors near Ryan's newly purchased lake house reported hearing raised voices and something heavy slamming against a wall. No one called the police. It was the kind of area where people minded their own business. By morning, Marilyn's worry had hardened into certainty. Something was wrong. She called Natalie, who confirmed Emma never texted her the night before. Together, they drove to the lake house address Emma had once mentioned. Ryan's black SUV was in the driveway. The curtains were drawn. Marilyn banged on the door until her fists ached. No answer. She was about to leave when she noticed something on the porch, Emma's scarf. She had worn it that day. They called the police. When officers arrived, Ryan opened the door shirtless, claiming he'd just woken up. He told them Emma had stopped by briefly but left around 9 after they'd had a small argument about work. He said he had no idea where she went after that. The officers noted a faint scratch down his forearm. He claimed it was from fixing a window. They also noticed a wine glass, still half full, on the coffee table. Ryan said it was from earlier in the week. Detective Leah Porter, who'd been with Charleston PD for 12 years, wasn't buying it. She'd worked enough missing persons cases to know when someone was giving half-truths. Ryan's eyes darted whenever she asked about the previous night. His timeline was vague, his details inconsistent. But without proof of foul play, all she could do was open a missing person file. At 3:12 p.m. that day, forensic analysis of Emma's phone records showed that the "I'm safe" text wasn't sent from her usual location. The GPS ping placed the phone near an abandoned boathouse, 3 miles from Ryan's lake house. Even more chilling? The text had been sent hours after witnesses believed they'd heard that violent argument. Marilyn's mind kept looping one thought. If she sent that text, why didn't she just call me? She started digging through Emma's social media, looking for anything, comments, tags, photos, that might explain who she was with or what she was involved in. That's when she found a series of cryptic posts from an account she didn't recognize, tagging Emma in photos from places she hadn't mentioned visiting. The account belonged to a woman named Sophie Hale. And Sophie was Ryan's ex-fiancée. As rain began to fall over Charleston that evening, Detective Porter stood in the dim light of the police precinct, staring at the last text Emma ever sent. The timestamp, the GPS location, the phrasing, it all screamed one thing to her. Emma didn't send this text. And whoever did, wanted to buy themselves time. If you're drawn into this story and want to follow every shocking detail as it unfolds, make sure you're subscribed and your notifications are on. You won't want to miss what's uncovered next. Sometimes in a missing person's case, the clues don't start with where they disappeared, but with who might want them gone. The first 24 hours had passed and Emma was still missing. But in the search for answers, her loved ones were about to discover something chilling. Emma's relationship with Ryan wasn't the only dangerous tie she had, and the people she trusted most were hiding secrets of their own. Detective Leah Porter sat at her desk, the hum of the precinct around her barely registering. She had the printout of Emma Lawson's phone activity spread in front of her. Every outgoing and incoming call, every message, every GPS ping. She'd been over it 5 times already, but one detail kept snagging her attention like a splinter. At 10:34 p.m., the time Emma's "I'm safe" text was supposedly sent, there was a missed call from an unknown number. No voicemail. No follow-up attempt. The number wasn't in Emma's contacts. Porter tapped her pen against the desk. In her experience, those unknown numbers often turned out to be burner phones, used when someone didn't want to be traced. The name Sophie Hale had already become a fixed point in her notes. Ryan's ex-fiancée. Tagged Emma in posts months after their breakup. And those posts weren't friendly. One photo in particular caught Porter's eye, a picture of Emma walking downtown taken from a distance. The caption read, "She doesn't know what she's walking into." The timestamp? 2 weeks before Emma disappeared. Porter requested a team to track Sophie down for questioning. Meanwhile, Marilyn sat at her kitchen table with Natalie, both of them surrounded by printouts of Emma's social media posts, text screenshots, and old photos. They were looking for patterns, but what they were really doing was trying not to imagine the worst. "I never liked him," Natalie muttered for the 3rd time. Ryan had this way of looking at people, like he was deciding whether they were worth his time. And with Emma, it was like he didn't just want to be with her, he wanted to own her. Marilyn's hands clenched around her coffee mug. Then why didn't she tell me? Why didn't she ask for help? Natalie hesitated. Maybe she thought she could handle it. Or maybe, she trailed off. Or maybe what? Maybe she didn't realize how dangerous he was until it was too late. When Porter brought Ryan in for a formal interview, he played the role of the concerned boyfriend almost too well. "I just want her found," he said, his voice breaking in carefully measured intervals. "We had a disagreement, yes, but I would never hurt her. Never." Porter leaned back in her chair. "Tell me about Sophie Hale." His jaw tightened. "We were engaged. It didn't work out. She's been posting about Emma online. Did you know that? I can't control what my ex does. Sophie's unwell. She blames me for the breakup." Porter made a note. His choice of words was deliberate. He was painting Sophie as unstable, which, if Porter's instincts were right, meant Sophie was a problem for him. When Porter finally found Sophie, she was working in a small art studio 2 towns over. Her hands were covered in charcoal dust, her hair pulled back in a messy bun. She didn't seem surprised to see the detective. "Let me guess," Sophie said. "This is about Emma Lawson." "Yes," Porter replied. "You've been posting about her." Sophie let out a humorless laugh. "Posting about her?" "No. Warning her." "Warning her about what?" "About Ryan. About what he's capable of." Porter's eyes narrowed. "What is he capable of?" Sophie hesitated, then reached for her phone. She pulled up a photo, a screenshot of a threatening text. "If I can't have you, no one will." It was from Ryan's number. "That's from the night I broke off our engagement," Sophie said quietly. "I thought he was just being dramatic. Until things started happening, my car tires slashed, my apartment broken into, my cat poisoned. I couldn't prove it was him, but..." She shook her head. "When I saw he was dating Emma, I knew she was in danger." The GPS ping that placed Emma's phone near the abandoned boathouse had been bothering Porter. That area was known for its seclusion, old fishing shacks, overgrown paths, a place locals avoided after dark. Porter took a small search team out there. The boathouse smelled of damp wood and stale water. Dust motes swirled in the weak light. In one corner they found something that made Porter's stomach drop. A torn piece of fabric, pale blue. It matched the blouse Emma had been wearing the day she vanished. Back at the station, Porter's tech team uncovered another layer. Emma had a secondary bank account. Over the past 3 months, large deposits had been made into it, cash, always under $5,000 to avoid triggering reporting laws. The deposits stopped the week she disappeared. Who had been giving Emma money, and why? When Porter questioned Natalie again, the friend seemed more nervous this time. "There's something I didn't tell you," Natalie admitted. "Emma told me she was thinking about breaking up with Ryan. She said she'd found out something about him, something that could ruin him. But she wouldn't tell me what it was. She said the less I knew, the safer I'd be." Porter's mind clicked into overdrive. If Emma had leverage over Ryan, that could explain the sudden deposits, and the motive for silencing her. 2 days later, while reviewing footage from traffic cameras near the boathouse, Porter spotted something. A dark SUV driving away from the area around 10:40 p.m. on the night Emma vanished. It wasn't Ryan's car, it was registered to a shell company linked to one of his business partners. The driver? None other than Sophie Hale. Porter stared at the grainy still image of Sophie behind the wheel, her face lit briefly by the dashboard. If Sophie was telling the truth about warning Emma, why was she at the boathouse the night Emma disappeared? The case had just twisted into something far more complicated, and far more dangerous, than she had imagined. Stay with this investigation. Things are unraveling fast, and every revelation is pulling us deeper into a maze of lies and hidden motives. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you're here when the next piece falls into place. When someone disappears, lies pile up fast. Everyone has a version of the truth, just enough to make themselves look innocent and everyone else look guilty. But now, the lies in Emma Lawson's case weren't just coming from Ryan Cross. They were coming from the woman who claimed she was trying to save her. And somewhere in the middle of their conflicting stories, was the real reason Emma was dead. Detective Leah Porter didn't like coincidences, and Sophie Hale showing up at the boathouse the night Emma vanished was too big to ignore. When she confronted Sophie with the traffic cam stills, Sophie didn't flinch. "Yes, I was there," Sophie admitted, arms crossed. "But I didn't hurt her." "Then why lie?" Porter's tone was sharp. "Because I knew how it would look. Ryan's crazy ex hanging around where his new girlfriend disappears? I'd be the first person you'd lock up." Porter leaned forward. "So why were you there?" Sophie's jaw tightened. "Because Emma asked me to meet her." According to Sophie, 2 days before she vanished, Emma reached out to her privately. She said she'd found something about Ryan's business dealings. She told me she thought he was laundering money through one of his real estate companies. She didn't trust the police yet. She didn't trust anyone. Emma had apparently hinted she'd been receiving hush money to keep quiet, cash payments she was planning to document before deciding what to do. "She wanted to show me something that night," Sophie said. "I waited at the boathouse for over an hour. She never came." The issue was Porter had surveillance footage from a highway camera that placed Emma's silver sedan heading toward the lake at 9:05 p.m. and never coming back. If Sophie had been waiting at the boathouse and Emma was headed in that direction, the two should have crossed paths. Unless Emma never made it there. Porter ordered a search warrant for Emma's apartment. In a small safe hidden in the back of her bedroom closet, they found $18,000 in neatly bundled cash. No fingerprints except Emma's. But according to Natalie, Emma had told her she'd already received much more than that, close to $40,000 in total, which meant that over $20,000 was missing. When Porter questioned Ryan about the cash, he smirked. "She told me she was saving for a trip. Said she didn't believe in banks." "Interesting," Porter said, "because she had a perfectly good bank account. 2 of them, in fact." For the first time, Ryan's composure slipped. 2 accounts. "You didn't know?" Porter watched his eyes, sharp flickers of thought, recalculations. It told her everything she needed. Ryan hadn't been the one making the deposits. A breakthrough came from an unlikely place, financial forensics. The cash deposits to Emma's secondary account matched the withdrawal patterns from another account belonging to Derek Miles, Ryan's longtime business associate and the co-owner of one of his development companies. Derek Miles had a record, 2 prior arrests for fraud, both charges dropped. He also happened to be the registered owner of the shell company whose SUV Sophie was driving that night. When Porter pulled Derek's phone records, she found several calls to Emma in the weeks before her disappearance. The last one? Less than an hour before the "I'm safe" text was sent. Porter brought Derek in under the guise of a routine witness interview. He was slick, mid-40s with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Emma was a friend," Derek said. "Sometimes I helped her out financially. She was having some trouble with rent." "Funny," Porter said, because the amounts you gave her weren't exactly rent money. More like enough to buy a new car. Derek shrugged. She had personal information about the company. She thought it was something illegal. I was just paying to keep her quiet until I could straighten it out. Straighten it out? Porter repeated. Derek's tone darkened. Emma was making a mountain out of a molehill. But Ryan takes betrayal personally. If you think I'm dangerous, detective, you haven't seen anything yet. Later that night, Porter reviewed more surveillance footage from near the boathouse. A blurry figure, possibly male, was seen walking along the dock around 10:20 p.m., about 15 minutes before Sophie's SUV left. It wasn't clear who it was, but the figure's height and build matched Ryan's. While Porter was chasing leads, Marilyn was slowly unraveling. She called Porter late one night, voice shaking. I can't stop thinking about that text, she said. It was too short, too cold. Emma always called me mom in messages. This one didn't. It just said, I'm safe. That's not her. Porter hesitated before answering. You might be right. Whoever sent that text may have done it to make sure no one came looking for her right away. The silence on the other end was heavy. Then she was already gone, Marilyn whispered. The next morning, Porter got a call from a fisherman who claimed he saw a man and a woman arguing near the boathouse the night Emma disappeared. She was wearing something light-colored, blue or white, he said. He grabbed her arm hard. She yanked away. Then they went inside. I didn't see her come out. The time? Around 9:30 p.m. That placed Emma at the boathouse, alive, before the text was sent. Porter stood at the edge of the boathouse dock that evening, the boards creaking under her weight. Somewhere beneath the calm, dark water, she felt the truth was waiting to surface. Ryan, Sophie, Derek. All of them had pieces of the puzzle. All of them had reason to want Emma silenced. But as the sun dipped below the horizon, one thing became terrifyingly clear. The I'm safe text wasn't just a lie, it was a smokescreen. And the person who sent it had been standing right here when they hit send. This case is twisting tighter by the hour, and the truth is closing in on someone who's been lying since the very start. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the moment their story collapses. In every investigation, there's a moment when the suspect's story stops adding up. Ryan Cross had been calm, confident, and convincing, until now. What Detective Porter was about to uncover would rip a hole in his alibi big enough to drive a truck through, and it would leave her wondering just how far he'd go to make sure Emma Lawson stayed silent forever. Detective Leah Porter sat in the dimly lit interview room, the audio recorder between her and Ryan Cross glowing red. It was the third time she'd brought him in, and each time, his answers had been rehearsed, predictable. But today was different. She had something he didn't know she had: cell tower data. Sliding a document across the table, Porter kept her eyes fixed on Ryan. This is a record of every call made from your phone on the night Emma disappeared. Care to explain why there's a 3-minute call to Derek Miles at 10:38 p.m.? Ryan's brow furrowed. That's not possible. I didn't speak to Derek that night. It's possible, Porter said evenly. It happened right between the time Emma was last seen at the boathouse and when the I'm safe text was sent from her phone. Ryan shifted in his chair. Maybe it was a butt dial. I don't know. But Porter knew. People didn't accidentally call their business partners for 3 minutes in the middle of the night, especially in the middle of a missing person's timeline. Porter then dropped the second piece of evidence: GPS tracking from Ryan's SUV. You told me you didn't leave your lake house after 9 p.m., but your vehicle was recorded driving toward the boathouse area at 9:25 and back again at 10:52. Ryan's jaw tightened. I drove out there looking for her. She left after our argument. I thought she might have gone to clear her head. And you didn't think to tell me that before? I didn't want it to look suspicious, he admitted, flashing a smug smile as if the honesty point belonged to him. Later that afternoon, Porter brought Sophie Hale back in for a follow-up. She started with the boathouse timeline, but Sophie was impatient. There's something you don't know, Sophie said, leaning forward. The night Emma vanished, she told me she was going to record Ryan confessing to the money laundering. She said she'd hidden a voice recorder in her purse. Porter's pen froze mid-word. And you didn't think to mention this earlier? I didn't think it mattered if you didn't have the purse, Sophie shot back. I didn't have it. Ryan did. A warrant for Ryan's lake house turned up nothing, until one of the officers found a locked chest in the basement. Inside was a small leather purse matching Marilyn's description of Emma's. The voice recorder was gone, but there was something else inside, a single gold bracelet. Natalie later confirmed it belonged to Emma and that she never took it off. If she didn't take it off, then someone else had. Meanwhile, Porter paid another visit to Derek Miles, hoping to exploit the tension between him and Ryan. She mentioned the cell tower records showing their call at 10:38 p.m. Derek smirked. "You think I killed her?" "I didn't." "But Ryan's temper, you've seen it. He called me in a panic that night. Said she was threatening to go public. I told him to calm down, to just talk to her. That's all." "That's all?" Porter repeated. "That's all I said," Derek clarified, his smirk fading. "What he did, that's on him." That evening, Porter returned to her car after grabbing dinner, only to find a single note tucked under her wiper blade. No signature. Just 4 words written in bold, black ink. "Back off or else." She scanned the parking lot. No one lingered. But her instincts told her this wasn't a prank. It was a warning. When Porter updated Marilyn on the purse and bracelet, the grieving mother's voice trembled with rage. "He took her things, her life, and now he's walking around free?" Marilyn said, tears brimming. "You know it was him. Why can't you arrest him?" "Because knowing isn't enough," Porter said gently. "I need proof that will hold in court. If I move too soon, he walks, and I'll never get him back in that room." 2 days later, a breakthrough came from an unlikely source. A young woman named Kara Whitman who had once dated Derek Miles. She called Porter after seeing Emma's face on the news. "I think I saw her that night," Kara said. "I was driving past the old marina, and I saw a man and woman by the boathouse. He was holding her arm and she looked scared. I'm not 100% sure it was her, but the man," Kara's voice dropped, "it was Ryan Cross." With Kara's account, Porter began to see the full picture. Emma had leverage over Ryan. Derek was the go-between for the hush money. Sophie knew about the boathouse meeting but may not have been there when the worst happened. Ryan's SUV was caught in the area during the critical time. And now, 2 separate witnesses placed him at the scene. But there was still no body, and without it, the case was fragile. Porter decided to confront Ryan one last time before seeking a warrant. She laid out the evidence piece by piece. GPS data, cell tower calls, witness statements, the purse in his basement. Ryan didn't blink. "You're wasting your time. You don't have her. And without that, you have nothing." The cold certainty in his voice made Porter's stomach turn. He was right. Unless she found Emma, this case could crumble. That night, Porter stood on the boathouse dock again, the moon reflecting off the black water. Somewhere out there, she thought, was the one thing Ryan didn't want her to find, the truth about what happened to Emma Lawson. The wind whispered across the surface, carrying the faint smell of decay. Porter's gut told her the lake was holding its secrets close. But not forever. This case is no longer just about uncovering the truth, it's about outmaneuvering someone who thinks he's untouchable. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you're here when the cracks in his story finally split wide open. When a body surfaces, it's supposed to end the questions. But for Detective Leah Porter, pulling Emma Lawson from the depths only opened more. The bruises told one story. The fingerprints told another. And the one piece of evidence that could blow the case wide open? It was found clutched in Emma's hand, still recording. The storm had rolled in overnight, thrashing the lake into a churning mess. By morning, the water had carried something to the shore near the old marina. It was a fisherman who spotted her, tangled in reeds, skin pale and bloated, hair fanned out like a halo in the water. Emma Lawson. Detective Porter arrived minutes after the call came in. She forced herself to look, to really look. The gold bracelet, the one Natalie swore Emma never took off, was gone. But Emma's right hand was clenched tight. It took 2 officers to pry it open. Inside was a small, mud-caked digital recorder. Back at the lab, the recorder was cleaned and powered on. A single file was saved. The timestamp placed it hours before the "I'm safe" text had been sent. Porter sat in the evidence room, headphones on, as the crackle of static gave way to Emma's voice. "Ryan, you can't just bury this. The feds will." "Shut up, Emma. You don't know what you're talking about. I know about the offshore accounts. I know about Derek. Then you know why this has to stop. Now." A loud splash. Muffled screaming. "Ryan, stop. You're hurting me." The recording cuts out. Porter pulled the headphones off. The room felt colder. It wasn't a confession. Not entirely. But it was close. Close enough to force Ryan's hand. The following morning, Porter brought Ryan in again. "I have something you're going to want to hear," she said, sliding the recorder across the table. He stared at it, then at her. "What is this?" Emma's last words. Ryan didn't touch the recorder. If you had anything worth hearing, I'd already be in handcuffs. Not yet, Porter said. But soon. Ryan leaned back, smirking. You've got nothing. But for the first time, Porter saw it, a flicker. Fear. Before she could move on a warrant, another call came in from Kara Whitman. You need to know something, Kara said. The night Emma disappeared, Derek called me. He told me to tell the cops he'd been with me all night. I didn't because I wasn't sure what was going on. But now, I think he was covering for Ryan. Kara hesitated before adding, and there's more. Derek's been bragging to people that Ryan owes him for cleaning up his mess. Porter's mind raced. If Derek was in on it, he might have handled more than just hush money. That evening, Porter returned to the boathouse with a dive team. Under the rotting dock, wedged between rocks, divers found a heavy nylon duffel. Inside, a soaked hoodie with Emma's blood, a burner phone, and the missing gold bracelet. But there was something else, a plastic evidence bag containing a SIM card. Porter's heart thudded. If that SIM card came from Emma's phone, it could prove who really sent the "I'm safe" text. The case was shifting. The lake was giving up its secrets one piece at a time. And for the first time, Porter felt the balance tipping away from Ryan Cross. The lake just spoke, and what it said could bury Ryan Cross for good. But someone else may be about to make their move. Stay tuned and hit like so you don't miss the moment everything explodes. When the SIM card was plugged in, it didn't just reveal who sent Emma's final message. It revealed where they were when they sent it. And for Detective Leah Porter, that location changed everything, because the signal came from inside the one place she thought was safe. The lab tech's voice was steady, but his eyes betrayed the weight of what he was saying. The text to Natalie? It wasn't sent from Emma's phone while she was alive. It was sent from a burner, and the SIM card matches the one you pulled from the duffel. GPS puts it right here. He slid a printed map across the table. A blinking dot hovered over a building Porter knew all too well. The boathouse. She went back over the timeline. Ryan's meeting with Emma at the lake. Derek's sudden phone call to Kara, begging for an alibi. The duffel bag hidden where no casual swimmer would find it. It felt airtight, but Porter knew airtight wasn't enough for court. Ryan was slippery, Derek even more so. She needed one of them to crack. That night, Porter called Derek in. She didn't arrest him. She didn't even read him his rights. She just sat him down, played the recording from Emma's hand, and then showed him the bracelet. You've been covering for Ryan, she said. But here's the thing, he's ready to throw you under the bus. Says you planned it, says you dumped the body. And the DA's ready to deal with whoever talks first. Derek's face twitched. He said that. Porter leaned forward. You think Ryan cares about you? He's already cut a deal in his head. You can walk out of here or you can rot with him. Your call. Minutes ticked by. Finally, Derek broke. Derek admitted Ryan had called him in a panic the night of Emma's death. Said there'd been an argument at the dock, that Emma had slipped and hit her head. But Derek's role? He claimed he only helped make it go away, staging the "I'm safe" text, hiding the body, sinking the duffel. He paid me, Derek said. 50 grand. Said he'd ruin me if I told anyone. Porter had him sign a statement, then sent him home, under surveillance. The next morning, Ryan was sipping coffee on his lake house deck when Porter pulled in with a full team. Ryan Cross, she said, you're under arrest for the murder of Emma Lawson. For the first time, Ryan's composure cracked. You can't prove it, he spat. Porter just smiled. Your friend already did. Months later, the courtroom was standing room only. The prosecution laid out the evidence. The recording, the bracelet, the duffel, the SIM card's location, and Derek's testimony. The defense tried to paint Emma as unstable, claiming she had been acting erratically before her death. But the jury heard her voice on that recorder. They heard the fear, the splashing, the plea for Ryan to stop. It took them less than 5 hours to return with a verdict, guilty. Ryan Cross was sentenced to life without parole. After the trial, Kara Whitman stopped Porter outside the courthouse. They got him, Kara said. So why do you still look unsettled? Porter glanced at the lake in the distance. Because Derek's story didn't cover everything. The bruises on Emma's arms, they didn't match Ryan's grip. There were 2 sets of fingerprints. Kara frowned. You think Derek? Porter's gaze stayed on the water. I think there's still a killer walking free. The lake lay still, the wind barely brushing its surface. But to Porter, it felt like the calm before another storm. Justice came for Ryan Cross, but one truth still lurks beneath the surface. If you were in Detective Porter's shoes, would you chase it? Or let the lake keep its last secret? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if this case kept you hooked, hit that like button so we can dive into the next one together.